We are back. Revival, Green Book Revival. I think this is session 4, Kyle.
Is it?
I think so. I missed one, but I think it's session 4.
I can't wait for this one.
This one's going to be fun. It's going to be all about Stacia today.
Oh, gosh.
So we titled this our top producers session. We're literally, for those that are joining, welcome to the Green Book Revival. I'm Brian View. Coach Kyle Draper is joining me. We are the I hate saying co-authors because we wrote very little. We were the co-creators.
There you go.
Of the Green Book, and we're fortunate, blessed, and ecstatic to have one of our chapter contributors, Stacia Weishar, join us today. We may get another contributor to join. Who knows? You never know on these sessions. But this was our top producer section of the book. And we're just going to riff for a bit with you, Stacia, on kind of what you've seen, this year, and more importantly, what's on deck going forward. And we do have Major Singleton. Let's add Major to the
from the road.
Major on the road.
Yes, they call me the Cadillac lender, so I'm always on the road.
Right on. Well, we're just getting started, Major. We're just gonna have a riff session like we've done before. Kyle, you ran the last show. I'll let you kind of do an intro here, and then we'll get into it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna let me have the day off.
No,
I was just gonna sit back and relax. Well, here's what I want to know, and we'll start with Stacia. Stacia, what do you do at an incredibly consistent level that the average LO rarely does?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know what the average LO does. But I think what I do consistently, or what I like to assume we do as a team too, is, we're really focused on process improvement. And focused on always sort of adjusting the flywheel just a little bit every week. I say daily, but really truly it's weekly, where we have a process improvement meeting. We examine essentially the 4 pillars of our business, whether it's finance, marketing, sales, operations, and then obviously people and technology interweave within those 4 pillars, which I always talk about. So as a CEO of my business, I always ask my team, come prepared every single week. Like, what are we focused on changing this week? What do we do? And this practice really helps us adjust our craft and redefine our craft in all of those categories. It can be something as simple as, this communication flow via text messages don't really make sense anymore to our clients or to our agents, or, we need to adjust our refinance process flow. We gotta change these things. It can be any function or aspect of our business in those categories. And we have a religious weekly call about it. My team has process improvement sections of how they run their day-to-day operations. So whether it's like a email box, they drop in their process improvement stuff in there. Whether it's I have somebody who loves colored pens and like notebooks. We really look at sort of our lead to legacy flow within our client touch base, and then our business partners, in all of those categories, and we make adjustments every week. And it's just a little bit, it's those little things, but if you just move the flywheel as sailboats are said, right? You just go like a 1/16 of an inch, you're totally course correcting. You went from Hawaii to Fiji, both amazing places, right? So that's the philosophy that we have as a team. And that's a philosophy that I've always approached in business is what changes, what tweaks can we make? Let's talk about it, make those adjustments on the fly. And really it eliminates errors moving forward. It eliminates, the challenges and frustrations where you go, how am I back in the same spot where I was, 6 months later with that same issue that I had on that file that one time 6 months ago? How am I here again today? Because we don't want to repeat ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We want to get better and better.
Can you share a couple of like the KPIs that make it most identifiable of what needs tweaking?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. So think about like a loan problem that you've had, like an oh gosh moment, like where everything hits the fan and you're going, what happened, right? So like let's talk about just operationally, like a buyer goes out, and here's a story I have actually. Let me tell a story. So 10-day close. We're really good at fast closings. This was years and years and years ago, but we had a 10-day close. We were in a competitive situation. Borrowers waived everything, released earnest money. We get into contracts, and then I'm trying to call the clients and their phone keeps going to voicemail. They're not responding to emails. I call the agent and I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, where are they? Like, we got to get disclosure signed. We got to get moving. We got to get stuff going forward. And he was like, oh, they're going to Australia. And I said, I'm sorry, excuse me? Well, they're going to Australia for like 2 months. And I said, I don't understand. I'm like computing in my head. I'm like, I cannot process. So, my really weird technical brain. Anyways, we got it done, but it was super, 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 super stressful. And so, that was a big process improvement moment. Like, shame on me for assuming that the agent would know that the clients had to be physically present to sign their loan documentation. And this was, again, way before, like, we were doing RONs, and it was a long time ago, but I was mad more at myself than anybody else. So we talked about that and we dissected it. And so we said, you know what could we have done differently? Because the buck stops with us, with me and my team. And so it was like, what do I say in that, conversation when they have an approval meeting? What documentation do we require that they sign when they're pre-approved that says you must physically be present to sign? If you're traveling, please let us know. We're so on top of that now. And this was, again, almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
That the client, our clients are so, like, they tell us everything. We're going out of town this weekend. We'll be back on Sunday. Like, cool, thanks. But again, we've never had that issue before, right? Like, we just know. Like, so that's an example. That's an operational example.
Yeah.
Does that?
Yeah, no, that's great. What about more on like the sales and marketing side?
Yeah. So that's a big one, obviously. So like with, let's talk about like a lot of sales activities. So like meetings. So like I have a lot of conversations and meetings with wealth managers, advisors, CPAs. That's been a big focus in my business because I do some just non-QM, non-qualified financing. And so I get a lot of the complicated files fall in my lap.
Yeah.
And so how do we approach those people? How do we communicate with those? How do we go get those conversations? And what am I saying in those sort of requests? And so I leverage LinkedIn a lot for that. Okay. And we're super active on LinkedIn. We have A/B testing in terms of messaging. We look at those A/B testings. Oh, we're falling flat. We're not getting as many meetings. Like, what's happening? And so we'll change messaging. And then it's just like, how many meetings can we get, right? We're watching that. We're seeing how many meetings I'm in. I do a lot of this. I'm in Zoom conversations. And then after that, it's really about, staying in front of those people in terms of communication. And so that's really much of like just more like market updates, product updates. Did you know? If you have questions, my intention in going into those conversations is very much, I want to learn about their business too, because I see a lot of holes as people go through a transaction. And to the degree of which where I'm like, man, I really think that you should talk to this person. I really think that you need to have a wealth manager in your life. I mean, I had a conversation this week with somebody who wants to buy a house and, heavily weighted in their company's, their company. So meaning like RSUs, retirement accounts, life insurance, and now she's going to diversify and buy a house. And I'm like, a house is an asset. So like, you've got to like look at your total wealth portfolio and like, this is substantial wealth. And she's concerned about debt because she lives a debt-free life cycle. And so we talked a lot about that. I'm like, I really believe that, she's talking to her CPA, which I love that she has a CPA, but she does not have a wealth advisor. So then that's a great opportunity for me to take that client and say, I have a good person who I think will be a great fit based on all of those conversations I have. And I really want you to talk to this person. So I'm making that connection today. So it's a mutually beneficial conversation, mutually beneficial relationship. But from like a sales perspective, how we get those meetings, we A/B test messaging, and then I track those type of wealth advisors, CPAs, and I want to understand about their business, and then I match make on the back end, and then the reciprocally that comes back to me. So,
and what I love about that selfishly is the reason the Green Book happened is because one of our contributors became a connector and connected Brian and I, and and so I was in a coaching program for a year way back in the day when I was in roofing. And one of the coach's main strategies was when all else fails, connect people.
100%. Like I believe it tenfold. Like if I had a conversation with a wealth advisor in Florida. I don't really have anybody for him, but I'm like, oh, there's somebody there that I know that you need to talk to. So I connected those two, and I'm like, I think you guys had great synergy. And so it's just about, being listening, and then also like making sure that you can connect the right people. I have a 1031 exchange officer. Like I'm always connecting her with people because you need good 1031 exchange officers as CPAs and advisors. So a lot of that stuff to me is really natural.
What is your, so for those of you that don't know Stacia very well, there is not an unturned thing in her business. Like she is all about detail, all about process, all about automation, all about systems. So I can only imagine you also have a system for when you're meeting with these people one-on-one. How are you taking notes? What does that look like? Because a ton of people, like it's easy to meet with a bunch of people, but when we have our phone out and we're half paying attention and really we're selfishly there anyway, like educate us on why those meetings go so well for you.
So in the meeting, I want to learn and listen. And so as soon as I get off that call, I give myself 5 minutes and I go put notes into our CRM about that person, right? Or business. I also ask in those, it's more, I also ask for them to send me information because I send them a follow-up email just about some of the unique products that we do. And then I ask them to send some stuff back. That's all saved within, I have multiple systems, our CRM, and then also kind of our project management system. And then honestly, it's like, was that a good connection? Was that a good relationship? Like, did we have a vibe? Like, are we similar humans? It's very easy for me to get to that place with people, especially in a Zoom conversation. And it's just really easy. I mean, it's like, you got the same level of energy. You're a good human. Like we have a lot of things in common. We're connected in some level as business professionals, as in humans, as parents, as whatever. We can have a connection, and I can feel that, and I can note that. And so I walk away from those conversations like this person is really kind of my jam. And this person also focuses on, like I have a advisor that I, again, randomly reached out on LinkedIn messaging, got on a Zoom call, and he's really focused on commercial real estate agents. So only commercial, that's all he does. And so a lot of these commercial real estate agents have really complicated sort of tax structures and stuff. And so I helped a lot of his clients. I mean, after I got off that call, he introduced me to like 5 people, like just like that. He's like, I have 5 emails sitting in my inbox. I don't know who to send these people to. So, but we had a good connection from a business relationship perspective. There's another advisor that I know in a totally different state, different area. And that person is really focused on legacy, family office planning, not super high wealth, but like in that interim, like sort of place. They have really complicated tax structures and entities. Another one is really focused on lawyers. And so I take all those notes, and then like when that person comes into my life, or I look back at my database, I'm connecting those people. And on my annual reviews, I ask all the time, like, do you have a licensed CPA you're working with? Do you have a wealth manager you're working with? Do you have a estate planner? Do you have a financial advisor? Are you happy? Blah, 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 da, da, da. And I'm like, or I see an opportunity. I'm like, I really think you should talk to somebody. And I believe in independent financial advisors. And here's somebody I think would be a good connection. If you don't like this person or not a good fit, let me know. I've got a database of people that I think are really good humans and would have your best interest at heart.
I love that.
So
good. So good. I want to, Brian, I'm going to let you open the floor to Major, the Cadillac lender.
Yeah.
As he has so recently coined himself. Michael will have to tell us what kind of car he's driving so we can have a nickname for him as well. Major, what's up, bro?
How are you, brother, man? I'm driving up to Louisville. We had some closings that we could not be at, which I like to be at all of them, at least the ones in the DFW area. So
yeah,
dropping off close.
Uh-oh. He'll be back. Hey,
Nassifar.
Look, one thing I want to point out, what Stacia just kind of talked through in that last section had very, 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 very little to do with the process of manufacturing alone, right?
Yeah.
And one of the thoughts I had kind of coming into today's call was it's December 3rd. We're in that kind of weird part of the year between holidays where there's this belief of a lot of originators that it's going to be slow and I'm going to slow down. And I know for a fact that the three of you all, when Major comes back on, there's no slowing down in your game on December 3rd, right? And
that's
even
absolutely a lie. Yeah. The business is, do people not need housing in December? Like it's only 11 months out of the year. Like it's busy, guys. Like this is fourth quarter and December is usually my record month. And I do fairly well to begin with. So to have a record month in December is usually anywhere from an $8 to $10 million month. And that's a phenomenal month. So
right on.
No,
I don't even know who's talking right now. You're wearing a collared shirt and a jacket. Who is this guy?
So yes, I'm like I said, it's a busy month. I got a call from a really large, great public builder and I'm en route to go meet with them. So
come on.
I have to show up like a builder would show up, right? Like I can't be in my t-shirt and jeans for the first meeting.
So Mike, before you keep talking, I want to set the stage. You wrote about this in the book, but guys, for those of you that don't know, Michael Nassifar, one of the top lenders in the country, almost completely focused on new construction. And so you partner with builders. And so, bro, talk us through, like, because I hear a lot of loan officers that are like, oh, I try to avoid new construction. They typically have in-house financing. They typically have, right? And you love it, right? You're like, heck yeah, more for me. But why are you doing so well at it? But then so many lenders have this bad taste in their mouth about it's not worth my effort. They're going to end up giving the loan to the in-house person. Can you talk us through that mindset?
Yeah, I can tell you real quick why it's not worth their effort. It's like my golf game, like, I hate golf. It's this, that, and it's the other. Well, I suck at it because I don't practice.
Yeah.
Right. And so actually I kind of don't mind. Like I don't try to be good at something that I'm not, so I don't get mad at it. But the reality is loan officers don't put forth the time and effort to get good at something. And therefore, psychologically they just go, oh, builders suck and that's bad business and I don't want to do it. Okay, well, that's like anything you're not good at. You just, you either get better at it or you say it's not for me. So,
what do you,
for me, those things.
What do you remember as like your first kind of breakthrough moment in the new build space where you were like, holy crap, this works? Are you there?
I'm sorry,
did you
cut out.
Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I heard, what do you remember? And then it cut out. So say it one more time.
That's it, dude. What do you remember? That's the whole question.
Not every day.
Kidding.
It's like Groundhog Day.
No, the question
what
was,
am I doing? Where am I at? Where am I going?
What do you remember as like the first breakthrough moment in the new build space where you thought, oh my gosh, this works?
Very vividly around 2003 when I first got into focusing on builder business. And it wasn't just that this works, it in a sense of like, you know, the loan pieces of it, it works like on a business model, because there's such a high reliance on lending to builder, and you know, a high reliance in the industry, right? Unless everyone was paying cash. But specific for builder, I mean, they incentivize homes not only for their capture rate, but to help sell their homes and to differentiate from one builder to the next builder. So this works in a business model. And that's when I just latched on. I was like, I need to soak this up as much as possible because they rely on me and they rely on us, especially, you know, 2022 till now when, you know, rates started going up. There is even more of a reliance and importance on, you know, financing for affordable housing and to basically break all the barriers that buyers, you know, make up on why they can't buy. So that's my job, is to go, you can buy because of this tool. You can buy because of this product. You can buy because you actually are more approved than you think. So that's when the light bulb went off, was in 2003, that I need to latch onto this. And being in Texas, that doesn't hurt because, you know, Texas to builder is, you know, Hollywood to movie stars. I mean, it's just flush with tons of builders, ample space, and with a governor that has been, you know, pro, you know, business growth for those builders to come and backfill it with people to work for those companies.
It's good. Major, do we have you back? Are you
I'm back.
There?
I'm back like Jordan wearing the 4.5.
Dude, I don't know that you want to be that. I don't know that that's the version of Jordan you want to pick.
He couldn't hit a curveball. He could not hit a curveball.
Out of all the versions of Jordan, that's not the worst one. Well, baseball Jordan's probably the worst one, but 45 is not much behind him, bro. Love and encourage people right now. Like what has you excited about 2025 with what's to come?
Yeah, I mean, I think those of us who work with buyers, I think the reality is, you know, rates are what rates are going to be, and people are getting more and more comfortable with that. You know, the farther, you know, you get away from 2 and 3% interest rates, you know, the more people you have saying, well, crap, I've been waiting on rates to drop for 3 years and it hasn't happened yet. And while I've been waiting on those rates to drop, the house that I wanted for $320,000 is now worth, you know, 390,000 or 400,000. And you start, I mean, those of us who are originators and are presenting data or have the ability to present data, we're starting to lay this stuff out to say, hey, you know, it is what it is right now. And you're going to have to really, you know, make a decision. So and the other part of it is, you know, originators, more and more originators are getting out of the business. And for those of us who are sticking around, there's more and more opportunity. You know, when I moved to Dallas 2 years ago, I was like, you know, I don't know whether lending is saturated or whatever, or loan officers are saturated. And every single day I'm meeting a realtor that's like, hey, yeah, let's meet. Let's talk about what you do. Let's talk about your platform and what you can do. So those of us who are sticking around in the business, I'm more excited. I mean, I'm preparing to double my business next year. I'm more excited about, you know, 2025 because, you know, I think you're going to have buyers coming back to the market. I don't care what rates do. They go up, they go down. Doesn't really matter. But I think, you know, the people that are getting out of the business, I think you're going to have a lot more opportunity for those of us who are investing in ourselves, investing in conversations like this. I love jumping on these because I learn so much. I mean, I wish you would have let me go before Stacia, because I feel very inadequate. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know if I'm a loan officer anymore. So, but I love getting on these because you get to collaborate with people and get some ideas. And those of us who are investing in our business, I think the future is extremely bright.
I love that. And you guys are, bring so much value. And first of all, and I'll say it again, thank you so much for each of you contributing to the Green Book and for, coming on and doing these talks. Kyle and I talk to loan officers every day in a different capacity. And there's a lot of great conversations, and there's a lot of conversations that I leave and I'm like, wow, this is dire. The business must be so bad. But then when we come on and we hear from folks like you guys, there's business that's being done in the beginning of winter. We're not in the dead of winter yet, but in the beginning of the winter. And to your point, Major, rates are going to do what rates are going to do. Here's my next question. I'd love to each of you just throw a nugget out. We've got, the 20 days left of the year, all the countdown stuff that's been happening, right? What's one thing that every loan officer can do between now and the holiday season to set themselves up for 2025? Stacia, I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just well, first of all, number one, it's having as many meaningful conversations every single day that you can have, whether that's with your past clients. If you are focused on builder business, like Michael, going out there and getting more builder business, if you're talking to realtors, if you're talking to whatever your situation is, like I'm very focused on, I have realtor relationships, but I'm also very focused on a different segment of the market, which is financial advisors, wealth managers, CPAs, et cetera. And I think that if you have those meaningful conversations, it might not plant fruit today for you to eat. But those conversations you're having will eventually blossom into something. And if you can be present in those conversations, if you can show up authentically and you can listen and you can solve people's problems and needs, it's very much a go-giver mentality. Like, I'm going to give back to others always. And in the holiday season, like, what better thing to like get in conversations and like solve people's problems that they didn't even maybe know they had, and like connect them with somebody. And I think that gives you more fulfillment in life in general, but also in tenfold will repay you in the future in 2025.
I love that. And I was in the opening, I was going to talk about, conversations are the key to everything, right? We're having this conversation, but you nailed it. It's setting up and having as many conversations as possible. Major, you're up.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I was going to say the same thing that Stacia said, and I've been reaching out to people and, having conversations directly saying, hey, let's meet for 5 or 10 minutes, 15 or whatever. And let's talk about your 2024 and your goals for 2025 and how we might be able to help you achieve some of those goals. So, I mean, I haven't had anybody that said, you know what, I don't want to talk about my goals for 2025. And if somebody says that, I'm like, I didn't really want to meet with you anyway. So, I agree with the meaningful conversations. And there are so many people right now that are taking time off for the holidays. And I agree with time off with family. I'm kind of pushing myself up to December 20th and December 20th to January 1st. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to chill. But in that time, I'm trying to do as many Zoom meetings, face-to-face meetings and stuff with realtors, because that's where most of my business comes from, and have conversations about, what they want to do or how they want to grow their business in 2025. And I think if any loan officer is stepping out there and calling up realtors and said, hey, I really want to talk about 2025 and what your vision is for 2025. That has nothing to do with the loan officer. That's about them and their vision for 2025. So I think that's something that somebody can, pick up the phone right now and start having that conversation.
Love it. Mike, I know you kind of hit on this and you're on the road right now going to see a new relationship. That new relationship just didn't come out of thin air, right? So like, what are things that you would advise LOs to do for the next 2 to 3 weeks that would lead to the next great meeting, like the one you're going to?
Yeah, first I would agree with what they've both said, but at the risk of sounding cheesy, I would really take one step before those meaningful conversations and reaching out and really define your why. Like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I want to meet with this realtor? Why do I want to meet with this builder? Why am I a lender? And not to get like so philosophical or theoretical, but when I've spent some time this year really defining my why, that has made a huge difference in my output. Because why? Because I love helping people, like Sasha said. Like, I love solving problems. Why? I love the industry that I'm in. Why? And I can probably say that both would agree to this, because I'm great at what I do. I'm really phenomenal at what I do. And why should a builder work with me or a realtor? Because we're really great at what we do. We'll serve you at the highest levels. And so really defining your why, I think that's the fuel for those conversations. It's the fuel for connecting with people. So again, I know it sounds cheesy and it's like, Brian, you probably wanted like bullet point tactical things, but the reality is like, before you can do that, like if you have no energy to do those things and someone just says, go and make 10 phone calls and 10 emails and 10 posts. Yeah. Okay, but if I don't really have a real good reason why I'm doing that, it's going to be kind of flat. It'll be disingenuous. And I quite honestly, I don't think I'll connect with people at a level as I would prior to doing that. If I said, my why is my family, my why is my, my God and my beliefs and what he created me to do. So I would really camp out on that if I'm a loan officer, and, evaluating my 2024 and what I want my 2025 to be is really just lock into your why and then go and do all those things.
Yeah, I love that. I just, this flying back from my trip to Japan, 14 hours of quarantine, if you will, in a tube. I probably once a month, every other month, I think about my why in terms of why I show up on LinkedIn as an example, right? And this guy Darren McKee kind of took me through an exercise about a year ago, the 7 levels of why. So, really drill down into why you're doing what you're doing at this point in time. And it is a powerful exercise to go through. And I do think it sets you up for what Stacia and Major talked about, is meaningful value add conversations that advance relationships.
Hey, I want to ask you guys, because as each of you spoke, the other two of you just nodded the whole time, right? So obviously, like, everybody's vibing with build meaningful relationships. Everybody's vibing with understand your why, keep going back to your why, keep reinforcing your why. What's a material that y'all use, a book, a podcast, like that's it could probably be 2 books, right? What's helped you develop your why? And then when you talk about meaningful conversations, like Major, what you said, I want to meet with you about your goals for 2025. That is a bold request, right? Like, you have to know your crap to say, I'm good enough to sit down with you and help you with your goals. And so where does that confidence come from? Like, what resources would you provide if a realtor said, man, I have these big visions, but like, I just can't put it all together? Like, what resource would you put in somebody's hand that somebody could leave this webinar and go buy, and over their Christmas break, like, they could start digging into some of this stuff?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in why, Michael, too. I had a business coach tell me I was miserable when I was running a startup, and handed me a book, Simon's book, and it's why I'm back in this business. I love this industry. So a why is a very personal thing. It's very deep.
Is that Start With Why by Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm a big believer in that book. Simon's a great resource. Anything Simon does, I think, is very powerful. He's got a podcast. I'm also a big believer. I mean, I love your book, you guys. I've given that book out to people. I think it's a powerful tool for people to use in this business. I coach loan officers too, so I think it's a good book for people in our industry. I also believe I like things outside of the mortgage industry. Like there's The Go Giver Sells More is a really good book. That's really one of my main philosophies in life, is always thinking about other people and how you can serve them at a higher level and a higher power. So like Major said, like asking those, what are your plans and your goals, is an awesome thing. And asking those people, like, what are your goals? But then helping them fulfill that is the next step. You can get into any meeting, you can get into Zoom or a coffee date and whatever you want to do. But if you don't follow through from that meeting and provide resources, you're just falling flat like everybody else. You're just making the 10 phone calls, sending the 10 emails and whatever, 10 social posts. Like Michael said, you've got to provide value after that. And that value needs to be given to them that is relevant to them. Don't give them something that everybody else gets. Give them something that they get. I have a virtual library of resources. It's my like free little library. It's my virtual library. And I use that. I have everything in there. I was like a mom, a working mom. My boys played baseball, Brian, like anything that and I'm going to tell them the story about your son tonight. Like I'm a sponge for information, and I save all this stuff, right? And I have a place where I can go grab that and be like, oh, this person really needs to read this book, or this person really needs to listen to this podcast, or, I don't know if this person understands what cold plunging could really maybe do for them, or like whatever it is that I want to give to that person. So I have a resource library, and I look at it and I'm like, I got something for you. This is cool. And I also have people libraries, right? I have connections, and I want to connect people. So you should talk to this person. And that all comes from the Go Giver book.
Love that. Mike or Major?
Sorry, I got lost, and then I didn't want you to see the bewildered look on my face as I was making U-turns. If you're a believer at the good book, I'd start there. Just understanding how you were created, and just believing that, you were created for greatness, and just understanding that. And you can know that in your head, but once you know that in your heart, you're really unstoppable. So I'd start there. Another book, The Magic of Thinking Big. I like that book. It's an older book, but I like it because the message behind it is, if you're going to do something, you might as well, don't be small about it. Just think big and create big things. So that's where, I would start. And I will say this, when you ask someone I want to go back to my previous answer to that question. When you tell somebody, hey, I want to talk about your goals for 2025. And I remember, and I'll remember this for the rest of my life. In the end of 2022, I did the same thing. So this is my questions that I asked in December, to realtors or whatever, as I'm meeting with them. And I met with a realtor, and the realtor said, well, I have 3 different CRMs, and I want to combine my 3 different CRMs into one CRM. And I'm sitting there like, how is that going to help you, close more deals? I just don't understand. How's it going to help you help more people? And it was important for him, but it really wasn't. I really couldn't help him with that. Yeah, that's a technical thing. I'm like, I got nothing for you, man. I really can't help with that. The reason you ask these questions is not so you can get in to somebody. The reason you ask that question is, going back to what Stacia said, who are you really connected to? I mean, who can you really help? If you ask somebody that question and you can't help them, that might not be somebody you necessarily want to connect yourself to for 2025. And guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. You have to be at peace with that, and at peace with saying, you know what? Hey, we can be good people and good producers, but we don't work together because we don't add value to one another, or I can't add value to you. So those are some things I'd recommend everybody keep in mind.
It's good.
Man, I'm embarrassed. I'm the worst. You guys ask a simple question, I have no simple answer. 45 years, I keep telling myself I'm going to read more. I don't read. I wish I did. I really want to read. I don't know how people have time to read. It's not because I'm important. It's because I take too long to answer questions, so I don't have time to read. Stacia said something I think is really, really vitally important. She just kind of barely touched on it. Coaching to me is huge. I used to think coaching was the dumbest thing in the world, but I looked at it through the wrong lens. I don't care what stage this is why it's so important, because it doesn't matter what stage you are in your career path. If you're just starting out, you need a coach. If you're 10, 20 years in, you need a coach. And I would almost change the word coach to mentor. Mentoring to me is where it's at. I mean, and I even talked about this in the book. Tiger Woods, he's got a coach. Why does he need a coach? He's great.
Right.
Tom Brady, he's got a coach. Why does he need a coach? He's great. I mean, you need that accountability. You need someone to pour into you. You need someone to teach you new things. Like, I have a crap ton that I want to ask, both of the loan officers on this call. Like, I want, like a sponge, like Stacia said, like, I want to learn more. I want to add more. Hey, I want to learn some things that I don't want to do. Why? It just solidifies what I like to do that much better. So for me, it's, again, yes, you should be reading books. Yes, I should be reading books, but I don't think you're going to be able to apply it, because you can get super sharp, but you just stick it in a drawer. But until you get a mentor and a coach that really makes you apply it, then you can put it to use. So for me, be at the right company, have, the right leadership. I don't care if you just started out. If you can't pick up your phone and reach out and call your CEO or your president, you either have the wrong mindset or you're at the wrong company. So go and select the best people and say, hey, will you be my friend? Will you help teach me what I need to know? And I'd start there. That's honestly the best advice I could give, outside of, prayer and the right, group of people that you're with, is get a mentor, get a coach, and get busy.
I love the message on coaching, because I, like you, Mike, was in business, always questioned for a long time the value of coaching, and yet I was a football coach, and so
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. You brought up Tiger Woods and Tom Brady, and you can go down the list of all the professional athletes. They all have either a coach as part of the team they're on, but in most cases, they all have individual coaches, and it's not just
coach.
Yeah,
yes.
not just performance based. It's the mental coach, and I think you talk about accountability. I think in business, that's probably the single biggest value for coaching, is that added layer of accountability, because we'll let ourselves down as individuals, but we're less likely to let a coach down, or somebody that's working with us or mentoring us. And so I love that accountability aspect in coaching.
Coaching is probably, I think, one of the most.
I wanted to.
Go ahead, Major. Go ahead, Major.
I want to just say, sometimes people get confused with coaching and mentorship. Coaches are usually in your field. Mentors may not be in your field. So a mentor may be somebody that's mentoring you on life. And honestly, if I reach out to somebody and they're a mentor, I don't need somebody to tell me how to do loans. I've done enough of them. I'm good. But I do need mentors, somebody that's, might have kids like I have kids, or might be in the same older person who's been through life, and maybe built a business in a different sector or something like that, and they could mentor me. So keep in mind that your coach is probably someone who knows what you should be doing day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. Mentors, I think mentors are usually discovered. You usually just discover them in life. You don't really pay them or anything. All of my mentors, I can't pay them, because the information they give me is invaluable. So, I think people sometimes get those two things confused, but they are not the same at all.
I think that, I love that, Major. I think that one of the biggest life lessons I've learned, you know, both in tech and in this business is, and in life in general, like the people you surround yourself with. I mean, this is just, everybody knows this. Like the people you surround yourself, the closest humans to you, you start to replicate, right? It's why athletes have coaches. It's why athletes have, you know, trainers. It's because they replicate that mentality. It's why the best sport teams in the world are good at what they do, because they're surrounded by greatness. And that greatness is an energy that grows. It's something that it truly grows and blossoms. And so it's like when I get on this call and I listen, just like Michael said, like I want to be in your brain, Michael, and yours, Major. Like I want to understand more and learn more, because you're both great at what you do, and we're all different. And so I think that, you know, like again, I coach people, but I get more out of those relationships and conversations sometimes, and I think that even the people that I interact with even know. Like I learn things. I become greater as a parent. I become greater as you know, a originator. I become greater as a business operator, CEO. Like there's just a lot of things we can take away. And so again, it's all about those meaningful conversations, whether that is with a coach, whether that is with a mentor, whether it's with the, you know, 5 people you surround yourself after hours. You know, like Michael said, maybe if you're, you know, if in your community, at church, or wherever you go, think about the people you're around. Just truly think about that. Because I think those people will help you be better. And I think that, you know, as somebody who was an athlete growing up, like I always think about, like, I need somebody in my ear telling me, you know, it's why Peloton, for God's sakes, like is the company that it is. It's because there's a screen of a person talking at you and coaching you, and then you can see other people in the room doing the same thing. I mean, this mentality for us as humans, we have a desire to be better and in communities that are better. And so surround yourself with those people you want to be like.
Amazing. And I love the Peloton reference. If only there was a Peloton app for lending.
Let's do it, Ryan.
Yeah. Kyle, this one didn't disappoint. I have like a slew of notes for myself here to address. And Stacia, Mike, appreciate you guys joining. Major, I know you had to drop. Thank you so much. You guys are continuing to be the most selfless leaders in our business, and I just couldn't appreciate you more.
Thank you guys for having us. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. Appreciate it. Happy holidays, everybody.
Kyle, always good to see you, especially in your lumberjack attire.
Thank you.
Very
It's only going to
brawny.
get worse from here.
We will see you guys next week. Come back.
Bye,
I think it's next Tuesday or Wednesday for session number 5.
Woo woo.
See y'all.